We've all seen it online. That promise of a special morning drink that's going to kickstart your metabolism and just melt fat away. It sounds like the perfect simple hack for a really complex process. But is it just too good to be true? Well, today, we're putting those claims to the test. We're going to separate the real science from the social media hype. And that's the big question, right? It's everywhere. TikTok, the morning news, maybe even a well-meaning friend told you about it. This idea that one single drink can rev up your body's engine is, well, it's incredibly popular. So let's take a look at the main contenders.
First up, of course, is the old, reliable caffeine. It promises to get a lot more than just your brain moving in the morning.
Then you've got the wellness world's darling, the apple cider vinegar shot. People hail this for pretty much everything, from detoxing your body to burning fat. And finally, there's the one that's getting more and more popular, yerba mate. It's a traditional South American brew, and it's got this reputation for all sorts of health and metabolic benefits.
So all of these really fall into this huge category of wellness drinks. Like that recent trend of putting pink Himalayan salt in your water. But look, to separate what's fact from what's fiction, we first have to understand how our metabolism actually works.
Okay, so before we can even talk about boosting the engine, we gotta pop the hood and see how it runs. We're gonna start with a really core scientific principle here, the thermic effect of food, or TEF for short. And trust me, this is the key to understanding everything else we're about to talk about. The easiest way to think about TEF is as an energy tax. See, every time you eat, your body has to spend energy to process that food. It's not a free ride. And just like with real taxes, some foods have a much, much higher rate than others. That means your body is actually burning more calories just to break them down. And this is where it gets really interesting. Just look at the massive difference between these macronutrients. For every 100 calories of fat you eat, your body only burns about 3 of those calories processing it. For carbs, it's a bit better, around 10. But then look at protein. Your body uses a whopping 25, maybe even 30 of those calories just for digestion. That's a huge difference, and it's a super crucial point. We're going to come back to this.
All right, now that we have our scientific baseline set, it is time for the main event. Let's put these super popular drinks to the test and see if they can actually move the needle on our metabolism.
First up is caffeine. And you know what? The research is pretty clear on this one. Yes, caffeine does give you a metabolic lift. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that after people drink coffee, the metabolic rate of every single person in the study went up. Didn't matter if they were normal weight or obese. So, okay, that's 1 point for coffee.
But, and this is a big but, here's where the story gets a little more complicated. While everyone's metabolism did speed up, the effect on actual fat burning, or what scientists call fat oxidation, was not the same for everyone. As you can see here, in normal weight subjects, caffeine caused a significant increase in burning fat for fuel. But in the obese subjects, that same fat-burning boost, it just didn't really happen. This is a super important distinction that almost always gets overlooked.
Okay, next up, yerba mate. So a big scientific review looked into it and found that its main benefits are really all about managing your blood sugar, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. But what about weight loss? Well, the review found its impact on weight, on BMI, on cholesterol. It was pretty limited, maybe even non-existent. So while it does have some benefits, it's not quite the weight management miracle it's sometimes made out to be.
And what about that famous apple cider vinegar shot? Well, a 2021 study was crystal clear. Vinegar does not directly affect your metabolism, period. Now, it can help a bit with weight loss, but that's only when you're also eating in a calorie deficit. And that whole idea about taking it first thing in the morning for a bigger boost, yeah, the science says the timing makes no difference at all.
All right, so we've looked at the evidence for each of our contenders. Now it's time to bring it all together and deliver the final verdict. What's the real bottom line here?
This slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? You can see it clearly. For every single one of these drinks, there's a big gap between the promise and the reality. Caffeine gives you a modest lift, but that fat-burning benefit isn't for everyone. Yerba mate's real strength is with blood sugar, not so much weight management. And apple cider vinegar, no direct metabolic effect at all. The effects that are there are real, but they're way more nuanced and so much less dramatic than the hype would have you believe.
And to really put this all into perspective, let's look at the actual numbers for that caffeine boost. We are talking about an extra 7 to 8 calories burned per hour. I mean, it's a real effect, sure, but it's not exactly a game changer, is it? That's not even enough energy to walk up a single flight of stairs.
So if these popular drinks aren't the magic bullet we're looking for, then what is? Is there a way to actually leverage your diet for a real metabolic advantage? Well, the answer takes us right back to where we started.
Remember that energy tax we talked about at the beginning? This quote from the research says it all. Protein is hard to process and produces a much larger thermic effect. What that really means is that the most powerful dietary tool you have for increasing your metabolic rate isn't found in a bottle or a shot glass. It's found in foods that are rich in protein, which literally force your body to work harder and burn more calories just to exist.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. We spend so much time and energy searching for that quick fix, for that magic potion in a special drink, but the science seems to suggest that the most effective strategy isn't a secret at all. Maybe the real key to igniting your metabolism has been right there on your plate the entire time.